leading 4 Big Ten preseason honorees. Coach Day, we'll begin with your opening statement.
Good afternoon, everybody. Honored to be here today, and I just want to first off, thank Tony for his leadership. Probably heard that from some of the other coaches already, but it's been significant as we've gone over the last couple months and where we're going, and had some great meetings out in LA, and certainly it was easy to see leaving those meetings his leadership and how strong he's been, and where we're heading with all the changes that are going on across college football. And so I had great conversations with him, and very excited about our leadership in the Big Ten as we move forward. It's an exciting time right now to be at Ohio State, and as we've transitioned from Gene to Ross as our athletic director, it's been great to spend time with Ross, and certainly want to welcome him into the family again, and really know that he's got a great group behind him, and we're very, very excited that he's going to be our leader in the athletic department as we move forward. 36 sports and as we head into the fall, but it's been great spending time with him in this transition and as he takes over for Gene. But he's got great experience. He's already connected well with a lot of our players and a lot of the staff that's there, and I think he's got a really bright future at Ohio State. I just want to quickly mention, as you head into the preseason this time of year, it's a funky time because you go from spending a little bit of time with your family to now going into the preseason, and my family means so much to me as we head into the season. I just want to quickly mention, my family, certainly my wife, Nina, and what she's done for me. And, just going into our 6th year as a head coach at Ohio State as we head into the season, she's been an unbelievable rock and been unbelievably supportive along the way. And, my 3 children, RJ heads into his sophomore year. He'll be playing quarterback at DeSales High School, and excited to see what that brings for him. My wife Nina will, be the most stressed out person in Columbus as it starts at about noon on Friday, goes into Friday Night Football, and then we have the game on Saturday. So there's a lot that goes with that. And then, and my 2 daughters, Grace and Nia, who, working hard at basketball, and certainly, had an opportunity to spend a bunch of time with them, this summer. But as we head into the preseason, it's exciting preseason for us. It's been a great summer. The team that we have right now is working with urgency. They're working with purpose. It started with the guys that decided to come back, and 3 of them are here today, but it was very difficult to name 3 guys to come. I mean, it's virtually impossible to do, but we did it. We figured, these 3 guys are a great representation of who we have, but by no means do they stick out more than the other guys. There's 12 guys who decided that, they wanted to come back and play this year. They wanted to forego their opportunity to go to the NFL and come back and leave something behind at Ohio State. And since they made that decision through the winter and the spring, now in the summer as we head into preseason camp, you can see it. You can see the look in their eye. It's a special group, and then the pieces that we've added. We're very, very excited right now, and it's a fun group to be around every day. Coach Mick's been doing a great job, and some of the workouts we've had this summer. But now as we head into the preseason camp, it's going to be critically important to build a foundation. Every year, you rebuild the team. You don't just, jump back to where you were the year previous. And we're going to work really hard to have a physical preseason camp and build that foundation, as that's going to be what's going to be the difference in the end. So Denzel Burke is one of the first guys that are here. Denzel has already had a tremendous career at Ohio State and made that decision, like one of the other guys, to come back and play his senior year. Denzel has already played a high level of football, but he's going to be one of the best corners in America. He's shown great leadership. He's made great strides as a player, but also just in his maturity. We're talking on the plane ride over here about how you approach preseason camp a lot different now in his point of his career than you would as a freshman. And he's much more intentional with everything he does. And I think he has a chance to be the best corner in America next season. Emeka Egbuka, can't say enough about who Emeka is. Emeka's an old soul. Since he's been here, he's been a warrior. He has his degree. He had to make his decision on whether he wanted to go to the NFL or not. He decided to come back with the degree in hand. And, we didn't get a chance to see the best version of him last year with his ankle injury, but we're seeing it now. And he's always been a leader. He has been a leader since he walked in the building as a freshman, but now he gets an opportunity to do that as a senior. And then last is Jack Sawyer. A lot of people lead different ways. Jack leads by his actions. It started off by being, one of the first guys to commit to me in the class as a head coach, but also, and then recruiting that class, but also decided to come back this year. He was one of the first. Sat down with he and his dad Lyle and said, they have unfinished business here, and they started to get the guys to come back and build that group together that wanted to come back and leave a legacy behind. And so, being a Buckeye means a lot to him, being from Ohio, and he's going to continue to lead. He's playing his best football, did at the end of the season, and will continue to. Had a great offseason. So these three guys are here. They're unbelievable representatives of Ohio State, and proud that they're part of our team. The last thing I'll just say, and then I'll open up to questions, is just that our focus is on this preseason. It's the next step, and sure, a lot of coaches will say it. You can't really focus on what happened the year before. You can't get too worried about what's coming down the road. But we all know there's a lot of noise and a lot of hype around this team, and what we can't do is let those distractions grab our focus from what we need to do day in and day out. We know it's going to be a long season, but we got to have a great preseason. We got to have a physical preseason. We got to lay that foundation for what's going to come as we head throughout the season. But we're very, very excited about our guys. We have great experience in that locker room and some great talent. But it's going to take more than talent. It's going to take all the no talent issues to get to where we want to be and reach our goals. So I appreciate everybody, and we'll open it up to questions.
On your left, Coach.
Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, Dave.
I want to ask you about your offensive line entering camp. How do you feel about your O-line overall entering camp? And then, in addition to that, who do you expect will be your right guard, or who are the guys competing there at right guard?
Yeah, as you know, the O-line has been the area that we've been really, locked in on. I think that, coming out of the summer, their bodies look different. I think, you'll see them next week. We have some of those open camps, or days of camp. They look good. Mick's done a great job with them. They've had a good summer, but we know how important that is. I mean, this team is going to go as the offensive line goes. This team is going to go as the defensive line goes, and so we know that how important the offensive line is going to be. So I think that some guys have really stepped up. Josh Fryer, to me, has had an unbelievable summer. Donnie's been much a leader. But when it comes to that right guard position, I think you're going to see Carson Hinsman and Seth. They're both can swing between center and guard. But then Tegra Shavola is someone that has had another guy who stepped up and had a good summer. Luke Montgomery. And we feel like we have some decent guys in there that can fill that role. But we got to go put it on the field now and see how this training and everything that's happened this summer is going to translate to being on the field.
On your right side, Coach.
Hey Ryan, Davis Dillard Gazette. I know you talked about depth at receiver being a big part of what you need to accomplish in the preseason. I guess where do you feel you're at with that depth and behind Emeka, who's kind of starting to emerge in that 4 to 5 member group?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like we have a good, we're kind of top heavy there, and then where is 4, 5, 6, and 7? Brandon Ennis, you feel Brandon Ennis when you're out there. So this is going to be a great opportunity for him to do that. Jaden Ballard is another guy who's been in the program a while. We need him to step up and make an impact. He is a down-the-field threat with great speed. And again, this is somebody that's been in our program now. And I think that's another part of this team that we have is, 2, 3, 4. These guys have been in the program for a while now. So there's been a lot of built-up, springs and summers and practices and development along the way. And so we need JB to step up, and he's been charged with that challenge along the way. Bryson Rogers is another guy that gives us some playmaking ability in the slot. He's gotten bigger, he's gotten stronger. He needs to continue to play that way because he has the ability to run routes and get open against anybody in the country, in my opinion. Kojo Antwi is somebody that has to step up as well. And then we have some other young guys in there that have an opportunity to do that. So, that 4, 5, 6, and 7 is going to be critical in solidifying the wide receiver depth. But that's going to have to happen this preseason.
Me? Yeah. Tim Maitland, RollOn3.com. Ryan, I was just wondering, have you told your team to embrace these expectations for this season? And number 2, in your mind, how legit are these expectations?
Well, I think anytime you're at Ohio State, we know you're going to have expectations, but there's always going to be chatter. There's always going to be noise, and it's our job to block all those things out and just focus on what really matters. And I think, especially this time of year, the easy thing to do is focus on the goals, focus on the end of the season. But that's really is a waste of time if we don't build the foundation right now. Now, our guys, they know what the expectation is. You've heard some of them say, what their goals are. We're not going to shy away from that. We want to win the rivalry game, be right in this stadium right here, win this Big Ten championship, win a national championship. We know that. But at the same time, that can't be our focus because that's a distraction from where we are right now. And so where this season goes and what this team looks like is going to look a lot different than it did last year. And this is a new journey. We've got to rebuild that to get to where we need to be. And that started last winter, but the next step is now in preseason. So, we know what the expectation. Every time, I've, gone into a season at Ohio State. I guess this is going to be my 8th season now. 6 as the head coach. You expect to win every game. That's just what it is. And if you don't think that's the case, try losing a game at Ohio State. I mean, you're expected to win them all. So that's not new. We embrace it in recruiting, and we want to make sure that those type of people are in our program.
Ryan, Jimmy Watkins, Cleveland.com. In delegating play calling duties to Chip, obviously that's going to change your perspective on game days, change your responsibilities on game day a little bit. How might that change the way you manage games on a situational basis?
Well, I think this year there is a change with 2-minute warning. I think that needs to be something that we take into consideration. Just how the games are going to change at the end of the game. But other than that, I feel like I've always had a pretty good handle on that. So going into each game, we'll have a game plan in place. Chip's here for a reason, to run the offense. But I think it's my job as the head coach to look on the horizon and figure out what's coming. And in this conference, have experience of what's coming down the road, the games we need to win, how we need to win. Also with the type of players that we have. So that'll kind of be my input in the offense. Knowing what we're doing, and the great thing for he and I is we see things the same way, and we've been in the same offense together in our careers. So I think there'll be a lot of that. But Chip's one of the best offensive minds in the history of college football, in my opinion, and he's a great play caller. So he's got to do that. He's just got to go and get a feel for our guys and let them call it. But in terms of the management of the game and everything, it allowed me an opportunity to be on both sides of the ball, including special teams, and have a great feel for that and making those decisions.
Hey, Coach. Mike Regalado, Bruin Report Online. Sticking with Chip, last few years I've been able to see his innovation and his creativity with players. Aside from that, how excited are you to see what he can do with this team, and what else does he bring to your program?
Well, I think when you look at any offense, what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out what plays maximize the guys you have in the locker room. Chip has a background of doing things a lot of different ways. I think everyone immediately goes to the spread offense, and when he was at Oregon and some of the no huddle stuff. But he's at UCLA. You saw him do things with 3 tight ends in the game. Before that, there was a lot of 2-back stuff. There's a lot of different versatility in his background, and so I think the idea is, all right, what fits our guys? It starts with the quarterback, and then it goes with the offensive line, the running backs, the receivers, and how that all gets put together. I think he would tell you he's very excited about what he has, in terms of the talent level, on the perimeter, up front, the running backs, the quarterback options, the tight ends. So that's the journey that we're on. What is it that fits that? And then it's my job as the head coach to make sure it fits complementary football across the board, and that the offense is complementing the defense. And so in terms of the second part of your question, what he brings, for me, turning it over, I really wanted to have somebody that, had head coaching experience. Now, never thought that, you'd have somebody that was a head coach the way he has been in college and in the NFL and that background. And so it allows me a little, more of a peace of mind, and certainly a lot of trust there. I mean, I trust Chip with my life, and that's a big part of anytime you're handing something over like that you've done, almost your entire career.
Coach Ryan Day, thank you so much for your time.
All right, thanks, guys.